Hi everyone. Say, in the last class we have discussed second chapter. What is that? Population and human resource development chapter, and we have discussed many topics there. So what is birth rate and what is death rate and what is a demographic transition? It's divided into 3 stages. Okay, and we have done the topics. We have discussed a few more topics. What are the reasons for population explosion? So what is population explosion? So rising of population compared to the rising of food grains. Okay, so the population growth is faster than the what is that food grain cultivation. Okay, that is population explosion. Due to this population explosion, the country would face a lot of problems in the future. So what government is taking measures, and we have discussed what are the measures and what are the measures to control the population explosion. And before that we have discussed what are the reasons for population explosion. So we know the reasons of population explosion, and now we already discussed what are the measures to control population explosion. Now we are going to discuss today, our concept is what government has taken measure to control the population explosion regarding family planning. Okay, national population policy 2000. So here national population policy, national population policy, this is 2000. Today's our topic is this national population policy. In 1952 the government has came into an idea that we should control the population, and government has already started planning to stabilize the population. Sir, stabilize the population means if the population is going on increasing, so there is no scope for increasing of land in our country, yes or no? So if this population is heavily increasing, there would have many problems. So government has already discussed this topic in 1952, in the year of 1952 only, and they came with a policy. What is that? National population policy. What this national population policy discuss about? What this national population policy explains about? Sir, this talks about how you should control the population, how you should restrict the rising of population, and how you should bring awareness in the people regarding population explosion. So national population policy 2000 discuss about how to bring awareness in the society regarding population explosion and how to control the population explosion. So how you hear this mainly talks about family planning. So in the early until national population 1976. So from 1952 they are planning, government is planning regarding national population policy. Okay, they are trying to restrict. In 1972 the government has already given a national population policy, 1976. So here they already started family planning program, but the government has put no restrictions on the people. So sir, if there is no restriction on the people, then how, sir? It's a voluntary. The people who want to have family planning, they can go, but there is no restriction, there is no strict rules, there is no good enough facilities regarding national what is that family planning in the policy of 1976. But here in this policy, the people don't have restrictions. The people who can go for family planning can go. The people who don't want to go need not go. So the government has put no strict rules on the national policy, what is that population policy in the year 1976. And in the national population policy 2010 2000 to 2010 national population policy. In this, government has taken many measures, and government has taken serious activities and serious action plan regarding population rise, population explosion. And here in this national population policy, government has taken many measures and has brought lot of awareness in the people and started family planning programs everywhere, and a family planning program awareness, creating awareness in the society, and they are providing family planning clinical facilities in the society also. So clinical facilities means the people who wants to go family planning, they can go to the government hospital and they can be have their planning there, and they can restrict their births, giving births. Okay, and there are many facilities, and government has strictly and struggling for reducing the birth rates, Nana. So but reducing birth rates and reducing the number of births. Okay, number of births in a reproductive fertility rate, decreasing fertility rate. And at that time, what government has taken measures? So the government has taken 10, almost not less than 10 things. Nana, government has done many things in the national population policy 2000. So what things they have done? So to reduce maternity mortality rate below 100 per 1 lakh live births. So maternal mortality rate means, you know what is mortality rate means? So deaths occurred during delivery, deaths occurring during the delivery of child, that is maternal mortality rate. So the maternal mortality rate to decrease 1,100 per 1 lakh. So it was high at that time, and here in national population policy, the government has taken measures to reduce the maternal mortality rate to 100 out of 1 lakh. So if 1,000 births has taken place, there must be only 100 days. So less than 100 deaths, like that. That means there were more deaths was occurred during at that time. So they have put a target, there must not be more than 100. The government has decided not to happen more than 100 out of 1 lakh cases. And next one, and almost 30 per the infant mortality rate. Nana, infant mortality rate means infant mortality rate, that is 30 per 1,000. So earlier the many infants means the people just born child, there was many deaths was occurring at that time. So here government in the national population policy, they have worked to reduce infant mortality rate to births of child, and here mother. So they to reduce the work in national population policy has worked to reduce the IMR, means infant mortality rate below and not more than 30 per 1,000 births, Nana. And the third one, immunization. So every child must be given vaccines, immunity vaccine, vaccines. So even now many vaccines, the government is providing many vaccines. They have for every month, monthly vaccines will be there, quarterly, half yearly, and 1 year vaccine will be there. And there are many vaccines providing with the government for free of cost. So that came under national population policy 2000 to 2010. And earlier how the where the people used to give birth. Mainly in earlier days, they used to many your grandmothers and grandfathers was born in their homes only. But nowadays we all born in hospitals only. So here the government has taken many measures and bring this percentage. The people 80% of the people has to be born in hospital under medical supervision only. So this is, they have put a target that at least not less than 80% of the people should born in hospitals only and under the medical supervision and doctor supervision only. So there would be less chances of happening bad things here. Okay, if everyone is giving birth in the hospital, there will be doctors, there will be nurses, and they will have much facilities if anything bad happens there. So here they have planned for not less than 80%, more than 80% of the people has to be given birth in the hospitals only. And next point, access to information. So information, so government is providing and struggling to improve information regarding all the things, just like AIDS, prevention of control of communicable diseases, that means spreadable, which can be spread, and what is that, which can be easily spread. Okay, so the government has bringing a lot of awareness. Okay, if you go to a film, wow, many things regarding AIDS, we have many ads also, Puliraja AIDS vastunda. So this is taken action. And one more thing, that is a promotion or not promotion, what is that, awareness brought by the government only regarding AIDS, and that is a disease which can be spread, and it's a very dangerous disease which don't have vaccine till today. Okay, so the government has taken many measures to improve the what is that, information regarding all the diseases. And one more thing, incentives to adopt to 2 children. So small family, encouraged small family system. Government has given many incentives. Incentives means gifts or any facilities given for the people who has adopted small family. So small family means 1 or 2 children. The people who are adopting 1 or 2 children or small family, that means 2 children, not 2 or less, they are provided few incentives. Just like now we have given many facilities. So they will cut, even in some countries they will cut all the government facilities. So like Aarogyasri, they cut if they have 3 children, and they can't participate in they can't enter into politics if they have 3 children. So all because to bring the population into control. The national population policy is struggling for that. And 7th one, safe abortions. So earlier there is no good facilities to get aborted. Okay, so now the government has taken, and in every primary health centers are given with good enough medicines and facilities to provide safe abortions. Nana, safe abortions. So facilities, safe abortion facilities. And 8th one, restrict child marriage. So restrict child marriage. If child marriages are happening, there is a lot of scope for rising of population. Why? Because from the 18, if they get married at 18 age, up to 42, 43, they can give birth. So there is a lot chances of having more children. So government is restricted the child marriage and banned the child marriages. And also government is planning to increase the age of marriage to 18 to 21. So earlier it was no restriction, and here they are trying to bring this minimum age for marriage is 21. And they also planning to and given incentives for the women who are getting married after 21. So after the women who are getting married after 21 will be given incentives. And last one, Anna, all the health facilities has been provided. Health facilities has been provided to the below poverty line. Aarogyasri, ration card. The people who have white ration card are given what is that? I don't know, white or pink. So all these white, some kind of ration card holders will get Aarogyasri facilities. So with this Aarogyasri, we can have treatment in any private hospitals also. And even though we have some government hospitals, we can go for treatment in government hospitals. If there is no facility in the government hospital, we can join in private hospital with Aarogyasri. And so this comes under that type of facilities only. So these all the points comes under National Population Policy 2000 and 2010 to 2000 to 2010. And the main aim of National Population Policy 2000 to 2010 is restrict the population and bring awareness in the society regarding family planning. And they brought awareness, that they try to bring the awareness among the society, and also they provided the enough and good facilities regarding the family planning. And they have established, they have family, what is that, centers, a few health centers which helps for family planning. Okay, this is complete concept of a National Population Policy 2000. Okay, so you need to remember all these points, Nana. So these are the bullet points here. You can see in your textbook also. I hope you all bought your textbooks and start your preparation. So till 2 months, after next 2 months and coming 2 months also will be in the same way. So get prepared for online classes only. So if any doubts you have, you can I will conduct a session, live session also. We'll have good discussion of all the concepts. Weekly once or twice we'll have a what is that online, just like Zoom app, or I will give you the ID. You can join that ID and we'll have a good discussion regarding all the concepts. Okay, now we'll go to next topic. Now next topic is occupational distribution of population. So what is that next topic, Nana? Occupational distribution of population. Occupational distribution. So what is occupational distribution, Nana? So here all the people are working somewhere. So what they may be working in agriculture sector or fisheries, or they might be doing for dairy farming, or they are working in forestry, and if the people, some few working in industries, few people are working in service sector. So here occupational distribution means how the people are, what percent, and how the people, where the people, and how many people are working in different areas. So here the mainly occupational distribution was divided into 3 categories, Nana. So working population. So here occupation means the people who are working only. So in that first one, that is primary occupations. Primary occupations. And the second one, secondary occupations, and third one, tertiary occupation. So this is occupational distribution, Nana. Completely occupational distribution is divided. The people who are working are divided. Few people are working in primary occupation. So in primary occupations we have few number of occupations. In secondary many people are working, and in here also you have some type of works here, and in tertiary sector also people are working. So we'll see what is primary occupation, Nana. In primary occupation, so mainly agriculture, the people who are working in agriculture, the people who are doing agriculture, and the people who depends on forest, the people who do fishing. Okay, the people who do fishing, and the people who run a dairy farm. Okay, the people who are working under these four activities, the people who are participating in these activities for their what is that, livelihood, this comes under primary occupations. The number of people who working under these points, agriculture, forestry, and fishing and dairy, they come under population distributed to primary occupations. In secondary occupations, in secondary occupation, the people who are working in industries. Here I will write secondary, So here I will write secondary. In secondary, what is the first one, The people who are working in industries, the people who are working in factories, the people who are working in workshops. This is secondary sector. Secondary sector, this is secondary occupation. So here the people, companies, industries means manufacturing companies or any other companies here, and factories means there are many types of factories, and workshops. So in a workshop which is used to produce some goods here, produce some materials, tools, or anything. So the people working in industries, factories, and workshop. For suppose in rice not manufacturing, a rice mill, and for suppose cement factory, so that comes under second one. Okay, and tiles comes under second one, manufacturing of soap, they comes under secondary only. Sir, cultivation of cotton, they comes under primary. Okay, they do prawns, they grow prawns, royalu, so they comes under primary. In that way. Okay, so the people who are working in industries, factories, and workshops, these people, the population distributed to these three areas, they must be called as secondary occupation. In the territory occupation, and we have few more, so like transport, communication, next one banking, next one personal services. Got it? Then mainly the occupational distribution is divided into three branches. One is primary, secondary, and tertiary. In primary we have three types of activities. There are agriculture, forest, fishing, and dairy. In secondary, the people, the working people who are working in factories, industries, and workshops, and doing work here, these fellows and these people belongs to secondary occupation. And one more, tertiary occupation, the people who are working under transport and communications, banking sector, transport sector, communication sector, here personal services, these insurance services, hotel services, all these are personal services, so this comes under territory occupation. By this is complete explanation regarding occupational distribution. Just here this talks about not so tough, I think. In what are the activities comes under primary occupation, you know this, and what are the activities comes under secondary occupation, and what are the activities comes under third territory occupation. Here the question talks about, and we'll shift to occupational. Now next one, role of education in economic development. We'll shift to role of development in role of education in economic development. Role of education in economic development. This is our topic today, last topic today, and this is a big concept, Nana. Role of education. Role of education in economic development. Role of education in economic development. So if one is getting good educational knowledge, one is getting good qualification, and if one is getting good educational facilities, so there will be a lot of changes in that person. So first, what would be the changes, sir? If the one person is well educated, there are lot chances of getting a good job. If he get a good job, the income sources will increase. Yes or no? If income sources are increased, he will have a good family. Yes or no? If with income sources he can give their children good education, and if he have good income, their children will have the scope for studying in a better schools and better colleges, and best college they can choose best college. So automatically their children also will develop. And one more thing, if one person is having good education qualification and he can establish a factory with his knowledge, so he can give some employment to companies, employees, the people. And if one is well educated, he can create employment for the society. If one is good, highly educated, he can, if he is entered into politics, there would be a good scope for development of the country. Why? Because he would be a good ruler. Okay, so there are many chances, Nana. And if one is educated, well educated, he will have complete awareness regarding family planning. Yes or no? Yes, he will have good knowledge regarding family planning, and he will have complete awareness regarding small family, the benefits of small family. He will have knowledge regarding the benefits of small family. So these are many factors which good factors which help for economic development. So here government is also trying to provide education to all the people in the country. So they made it a necessary. Every child has to go to school, Badi Bata, and it's a free education. But by this, all the people will educate, and the people who are working in primary sector, that means in agriculture, fishing and other, they will shift to industries. They will work in industries, and they will get good salaries from these companies and other companies. And one more thing, they will come to know good knowledge, and they will have awareness regarding family planning also. And one more thing, if one is highly educated, there is a lot of benefits for his family. He can have he can provide good facilities to their children, and the people's capacity will increase. By education, the people will change. The people's skills will be developed. The people skills, we can extract the students skill out of education only. And one more thing, human resource develop the skill. The people who are skilled in their work can develop economic development. We can produce more number of goods. We can, that helps in economic development. It encourages lawful behavior. The people who educated, they know how to speak, and they know, and they will be loyal, and they will, and then there are lot chances, and there are less chances of doing bad things, the people educated. And the political stability. So if these well educated people enter into politics, they will follow all the good things, and they will implement some things which will be useful to the country. So automatically educated intelligent people can enjoy the leisure than the uneducated people. And here the first one, education and economic growth. Education and economic growth. Education and economic growth. Here, if the student, if any one is studying well, so he can get a job, or he will establish a any business or any factory. Okay, if he establish any employment, so there is chance for increasing the employment generation. Okay, it may improve some employment opportunities. And if these educated people enter into politics, there would be scope for development. And last one, basic skills. So providing basic skills to the this education provides basic skills to the people, so which helps in productivity of work. And next one, education and reduction of inequality. Education and reduction of inequalities. So education, direction of actually the government has provided free education from KG to PG. So that we have schools, we have junior colleges, we have degree colleges, we have PG colleges, government junior colleges, government degree colleges, and government PG colleges also. So here they don't charge money for education. So but even though government is providing all these things, the poor people didn't benefit. So the poor people were not able to compete with the rich people. So the poor people didn't get good jobs actually. So the rich people have good quality education from many years as their parents, fathers, and they were educated. And the poor people who were not able to compete with these rich people. So all the job opportunities and the government jobs, such many opportunities were in the hands of rich people only. Next one, education and rural development. Nana, if people in the education and rural development, so education, if the people living in the rural areas are educated, so they start shifting to cities and they will work. So if they are working, they will get good income source. For suppose if they want to do agriculture, they will shift to primitive technology to new technologies in doing cultivation. For suppose earlier we used to do lot things to cultivate the crop rice. Now we are using harvesters, and we have many good technologies to use now. Yes or no? Now we can spray spray fertilizers through drone also. There are many good facilities. If the people are educated, they shift to primitive technologies to new technologies. And one more thing, rural people will shift to urban. So if these people are shifting, they will have good enough knowledge regarding all the society, and they will know the benefits of family planning, and they will know the benefits. They will get awareness regarding small family systems, and they will have shift to small family. Okay. And next one, educational family planning. So family planning. So if people are educated, they will have complete awareness regarding, already we have discussed. Next one, other benefits. Other benefit means, so if one is working if one is educated and he is a employee or he is a employer, he will have good enough income source. If he have good income source, his children will educate well. Okay, so he can provide good education facilities to his children. So and he can also transfer his business to the children. So if you have good money, if their children studied well, they will go for job. If they're not studied, they come and take care of business. There are lot chances for the rich people to live. Here there are in poor people, they don't have such opportunities. If they failed in education, so their life will be spoiled. But if they are rich, there are many, they can go for business, not only job. Okay, and one more thing, human resource, skilled human resource will develop economy. And next one, that in the service, what is that? Technology and research. All the people are educated, they will go for R&D, research and development. So they will bring new technologies and they will bring good technologies and some other just like medical facilities, or which will be technology which can be useful in agriculture or some other factories, which will be more useful and which saves a lot of time. And if the people are educated, they will have lawful behavior and they don't do scams like that. Okay, they will minimum they maintain some what is that, lawful behavior. Okay, next one, the education intellectual people can enjoy and possibility for high stability. So if these people enter into politics, they will work in a good manner. They work in a different way compared to the people uneducated. So these are the benefits of education for economic development. Okay, hope you understood, and I hope you have textbook with you. This Sunday, next in coming days we'll have one exam also. And all the best. Stay home, stay safe. Bye.